Hello, dear friends. It has been very laborious to summarize the latest updated Cobra report, which reveals great things, which explains my delay, coupled with the pain caused by necessary tooth extraction. Opinion piece. Apocalyptic Madness. End Times Madness. Possible anomalous behaviour. There could be some drastic news. There won't be two different timelines. First contact is wanted as soon as possible. Let's start. The end time madness is a manifestation of political polarization and threats of nuclear war, and things could start to get more interesting from September or October, according to Cobra, who expects no major changes in the next 2 months, but then we'll see. In fact, 13th October has been identified as a key date, but no one knows exactly what the future holds. Some believe that there is a positive and a negative timeline, and that we will coexist simultaneously in both. But Cobra completely denies this claim and assures us that we will not coexist in two different timelines, as he reveals in an interview conducted by the Brotherhood of the Rose. The positive timeline is now much more stable than before, following the successful mass light portal activation meditation that took place on the first day of May, in which critical mass was reached. Definition. End times madness is a term used to describe the extreme beliefs and behavior associated with the idea of the imminent end of the world or humankind. It refers to a series of beliefs, behaviors, or events that are associated with the period of time before the end of time. It can be related to the fear, anxiety, and uncertainty that accompany prophecies. These episodes are social and psychological phenomena that reflect the collective fear and anxiety of certain groups of people. In various cultures and religions, interpretations and predictions about the end of the world have been put forward, often based on ancient religious texts, prophecies, or astronomical signs. These interpretations have led some people to develop extreme fears, paranoia, or even irrational behavior. Some individuals may become obsessed with the idea of the end times, believing that they must prepare in some special way or that they must act in a certain way to ensure their salvation or survival. Acceleration. Cobra conjectured that the event could occur in 2025, with the dark forces panicking and their agenda accelerating. All of these unknowns cause much anxiety for people, especially the awakened missionaries of light who are trying very hard to sustain the high frequency. As the light approaches and we get closer to the breakthrough, the dark forces will panic, so we would have more volatility, more oscillations, and more polarization. It is impossible to predict exactly how this will unfold, because there is still a lot of free will involved, and it has not been yet determined exactly how situations will develop. So, in a way, things will get harder and easier at the same time, depending on each case, but things will start to get better as we get closer to the breakthrough. The activation of the light portal has eliminated most of the dark scenarios, with only 2 remaining: conventional world war and a hard financial crash with the implementation of central bank digital currencies. While it is encouraging to hear that most of the dark agendas will not happen, this two possibilities are situations that could cause problems. The May 1st light portal activation meditation helped to reduce these scenarios. World War was reduced from 33 to 27%, and the half financial crisis went from 37 to 30% possibility. In other words, there was a slight improvement in the feared abrupt financial crash. Restrictions. Surveillance and control of our lives through a digital prison could restrict access to our money, food, travel, etc. But such a system would not succeed in the long term. If the dark forces engineered a hard crash, the light forces could create a surprise, but it is not possible to predict exactly how far this will go. Regarding the possibility of food and staple items being restricted due to the digital passport, remember, Cobra, that by buying silver and gold, you are creating an alternative system that cannot be controlled. That financial shock could include debt forgiveness in exchange for digitizing your financial assets, but it would be a total controlled scenario. The moment of total collapse of the financial system is the last possible moment for the event to occur. But this has changed, and the situation is different right now because of the state of consciousness. According to Cobra, the positive quantum financial system is ready to be implemented, can be activated whenever it is needed, and will be implemented as soon as the dark forces lose their control. It is necessary to have a robust and stable financial system during this transition period before the polar shift occurs. In his view, the mark of the beast will not succeed because the resistant movement has destroyed a new biochip technology that no longer exists. Regarding the dystopia of an attack that collapses the stock market, overturns economic systems, and divides the world, Cobra believed this timeline is highly unlikely, with only a 2 to 3% chance. Many missionaries of light who are making it their life's mission lack prosperity. Cobra is the opinion that the state of consciousness of light missionaries is not as good as expected, because a lot of inner work needs to be done to manifest abundance, and that is the top priority at the moment. He also considers it highly unlikely that the collateral funds will be released before the event. Progress. According to Cobra, the toplet bombs have been destroyed, so that all remaining obstacles to planetary liberation can now be removed more easily and quickly, and with less risk. The mental and etheric planes have been cleared, and control of the astral plane have been broken. In addition, 2 steps forward were taken with the activation of Pluto in Aquarius, but then step backward with the temporary return of Pluto to Capricorn. After this portal closed on June 11th, there was much progress, and this progress has greatly stabilized the positive timeline. During that time that Pluto temporarily returns to Capricorn from June 11th through early 2024, it would be a good opportunity for everyone to work on their shadow and prepare for a final push up to the event. Be honest with yourself and allow yourself to acknowledge, feel, experience, and transform what you find within. One step back is the elimination of the sub-quantum anomaly, which is far more intense than expected. And that is why we are in a kind of limbo at the moment, because much of this anomaly has to be cleared before we can make substantial progress again. Although the etheric plane looks like a war zone because of its clearing, but the subquantum anomaly continues to create problems also on the etheric and other non-physical planes. So this will take some time, and when those cracks begin to appear, it will change the rules of the game and trigger the changes we have all been waiting for so long. Implants. The remaining implants were on the etheric plane, but now the black holes within the implants have evaporated and are disintegrating very quickly because they no longer have substance. What is not dissolving are the belief systems that have been created through those implants and through past experiences within the quarantine. And even as those implants dissolve, it is necessary to consciously transmute the belief systems that were held by those implants in each individual. That is to say, the implants are dissolving, but people are still clinging to the old belief systems. All non-physical planes are cleared, and the only location under that control is the physical plane on the surface of the planet, with the major problems being the subquantum anomaly as well as the physical biochips. These biochips are the physical anchor point for the three main plasma implants, which are located in the frontal lobe of the brain and above the navel. The biochips worked in sync with the implants, and as these are now dissolving, the main problem is the physical biochips themselves disconnecting the neural connections in the brain. They are also the main source of surveillance, as they can see and hear everything we experience, and then the information is communicated to the central computer. These biochips can also help the dark forces to read human thoughts if you are not trained to cloud your thinking. The forces of light can also read thoughts if you give them permission, and if it is beneficial for your protection or for your growth. It is better to speak with the mind than out loud with the forces of light, because then the dark forces cannot spy on this as much. Other cosmic races, such as the Resistance, Pleiadians, Sirians, Arcturians, and positive Andromedans, have been liberated from biochips, completely mastering the transfer of the etheric physical body. This is an advanced teleportation technology which can basically transfer your physical body to the etheric plane, reshape and harmonize it there, and put it back into the physical plane. And with this process, they can clean the biochips. But this technology doesn't yet work on the surface of the planet because of the subquantum anomaly, which is the main source of negative experiences and feelings due to the presence of dark entities. Cleaning. At this time, the forces of light are developing technology and protocols to counteract the subquantum anomaly, such as the individual technology of Thor's hammer, but this has not yet been finalized. The subquantum anomaly blocks the flow of light from the buddhic plane to the planet, although even a small fragment of genuine buddhic presence within the quarantine greatly clears this anomaly. At this time, it would be good to do this for Ukraine, because there is a great deal of conflict, and many people are in an extremely negative and stressful environment, a lot of violence, and the Buddha energy of that area would help a lot. When enough of the subquantum anomaly is removed, great changes can begin to happen. However, as long as this universe exists, there will always be a tiny fraction of subquantum anomaly. We just have to reduce it until such time as we can begin to manifest big changes. For the event to occur, the biochips and the subquantum anomaly have to be eliminated. There is a small percentage of people who don't have biochips, and most of them live in Africa, and they are completely off the grid, so they have a different perspective of life. The more powerful light missioners have received stronger biochips because the dark forces wanted to control them more, but most of the normal surface population only has basic generic biochips. Hopefully the positive forces will put extra tension on the light missioners to clean them up. Much of the interactions between the dark forces and the light forces were on non-physical planes, so most of the surface population has no idea what is going on. But now that the only place under dark control is the physical surface plane, we will no longer see visible physical manifestations of these interactions after the collapse of the beta timeline, according to Cobra. The event. The forces of light have communicated that the process of the event may be more chaotic than originally expected. Many light missioners have imagined the event as a glorious moment when everything suddenly gets better, but the forces of light have underestimated the amount of darkness on this planet and overestimated the amount of light within the missioners. So, as a result of all this, the whole process would be intense and chaotic. There will be a lot of anomalous behaviour, but there will also be a lot of light, because light has not been present on this planet for thousands of years, and there will be a great contrast that will be present and a very strong purification. According to Cobra, there are almost no missioners of the light who are completely ready at this time, and they will have to go through their inner process, and it will be very beneficial and healing, but also very challenging. Many think that they will get through it, that they will help people, and that they will have a clear head. Very strong energies of light will flow, and there may be some drastic news in the media, but those who are connected to the light will feel that something very strong is going to happen. There could be physical signs, but it is impossible to predict because the situation is quite unstable and chaotic. Certain people will be contacted energetically. Year 2025. Cobra speculated that the event could occur during 2025, with the process of mass arrests, financial adjustment, release of intelligence, etc. After that period of a week or two, the surface population would gradually be informed of the coming polar shift, and humankind would go through a fairly strong awakening process. This is when the islands of light would be created for a few months, which would be the only peaceful areas of the planet. Then would come the galactic superwave that would trigger the pole shift. Initially, several years were expected between the event and the polar shift, but now it seems that the time span would be very short, like only a few months. There is talk of the year 2025 for the event and the galactic superwave, because it is a convergence of quite strong cosmic cycles. There is the Sirius cycle and the cycle of Neptune, Uranus and Pluto. There are other cycles, and they all converge in 2025. So this would be the marker that we are waiting for, and it would be very powerful energy coming. Polar change. Cobra believes that the cleansing of the planet caused by the polar shift will have to occur with a mile-high tidal wave and major earthquakes, because, in his view, there is no way this civilization can transform without the polar shift and the tidal wave. The event of the polar shift would be triggered by galactic pulses or solar flares. The 3 days of darkness refer to a setting phase of the process, with the Sun going through a micronova phase drastically, reduces its visible light and appears to be dark for a few days. This would occur just before the solar flare. The Sun would appear to be dark and dull, and then the sudden flash would occur. This is a geological and astrological end-of-age change, combined with the cosmic cycle conversion, involving the process of planetary ascension. So it is a convergence of geological, astrological, and cosmic cycles all in one. Only the very top members of the dark forces know about the polar shift. The rest of them do not, and they are waiting for this spectacle to continue. Excuse me, I've lost. And they are waiting for this spectacle to continue and believe they can maintain control through the population of the planet. Free energy, food replicators, and medical beds will be badly needed to reduce the suffering of the humankind. So they will be distributed as quickly as possible after the event. The forces of light are now leaning towards making first contact as soon as possible after the event, as soon as the population can process much of the fact that this can happen. There may be incidences or individuals contacted even earlier, and there are setting plans to advance that. Islands of light. The islands of light will be surrounded by certain vibrational technology, and you could go to them if you are able to hold that particular frequency without damaging your body and energy field. There will be small communities only for those who are ready. There will be multiple islands of light that will grow organically as consciousness awakens. You will only be able to bring your loved ones if they are ready to hold that frequency. It is not easy to predict what the state of awakening will be like, but expect tens of thousands of people across the planet. The islands of light will not be affected by the tsunami wave, as they will be protected with advanced technologies given to us by the positive races after the event. They will be able to witness the cleansing of the planet. They will be able to be teleported to the ships, or they will be able to stay inside the domes of the islands of light for the duration of the tsunami wave. And you will be able to return very soon and build a new Earth. At that time, there will be a lot of support from the light forces in terms of technology to do that. Most people will not be on the islands of light, but those who are ready will have the opportunity to be evacuated from the planet by the light forces to their large motherships, and then they will be transferred to an Earth-like planet in the Pleiades. Being prepared for the evacuation means that you are willing to go. It means you are not afraid. There is a lot of fear, a lot of programming among the so-called missionaries of light about the evacuation process that has been done in the last few decades, and people who are afraid will not be lifted. There is the possibility of being teleported to a mothership before the evacuation, and most of the teleports before the event would probably occur through the islands of light. Those transferred to the Pleiades will have the opportunity to return later to help build the new Earth if their vibrational frequency is high enough to inhabit Earth. The underground bases of the resistance movement are strong enough to withstand the polar shift, so they will not need to be evacuated, and those people are mostly ready to be ascended, so they will go through their own ascension process of their own free will. Ascension. The first wave of ascension is scheduled to occur shortly before the galactic superwave and the planetary evacuation at the time of the pole shift, but the numbers that will go through that first wave are a little smaller, but it may change the timing and sequence of events. The people of the Islands of Light are the people who would make up the first wave of ascension and then return later as ascended masters to assist the planet in building the new Earth if they so desire. The current plan is for the first and second waves to be more of a galactic and cosmic experience, but just centered on this planet. There is no end to the growth, so after your ascension there will be a continued spiritual expansion. Actually, all missionaries of light were ascended long before they came here, but they went through a very strong process of implantation and forgetting. The 3D incarnations, as we know them here, will no longer exist anywhere in this universe. It will be a much more conscious birth process. It will not be as dense and it will not be as programmed. It will be gone forever. The planet Earth is the focal point of this cosmic process, so the cosmic darkness is being processed through this planet, and the ascension of the Earth actually means the cosmic ascension, which refers to the end of darkness and the beginning of the new cycle of life. With the command protocols given by the Pleiadians, a channel is opened for a process of manifestation. The most effective Pleiadian protocols are the 1221 command for support, the 771 command for healing, and the command PB Stardust for chronic pain, but more protocols will come out. It's not necessary to experience the dark night of the soul to heal, but unfortunately it happens often. Some of this is done artificially by dark technology, and it is a process of facing the inner shadows. If it happens, you just have to go through it, and then there will be light at the end of the tunnel. If someone raises their frequency too high, the physical biochips detect it, and then it would lower their vibration with physical and emotional repercussions. The key here is balance. So, if you are raising your frequency, do it in harmony and in a balanced way. And in this way, you will not create alarm spikes in the dark grid. This is much less detectable. What is very important this time is not to lose the higher perspective, for it is that which will lead us through this period to those interesting moments, and of course the victory of light. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.